I can't do this because Mark says it's gay. Is it gay, Mark?
No, I said it was a bit cringy.
Well, anyway, okay, we've got a lot to talk about tonight, and we're going to get straight into it. So let's bring the man in himself. This is the man who knows what's going on, Mr. Statsman.
Oh, I wish I knew everything. But...
You do. Right, okay. I don't want to get straight into certain things, but Mark, did you see that? You got to listen to this. I know we're going to get into some serious topics, but Mark,
it's the frying pan, isn't it?
You cannot.
Do you reckon the sound effect was dubbed on, or was that the real?
No, that's the real sound. Even I checked it out. So actually, when I was listening, I was thinking, Jesus, no, that's too good. Here it is. Now it has something to do with some LGBTQ plus something, and they were being attacked by these people protesting against it. And because people can't get done for carrying a frying pan by the police.
You would in this country, wouldn't you?
Watch this guy. Mark, look at this.
That's enough! That's enough!
Wait a minute.
No, it's Antifa, is it?
Jesus Christ, you're going to put a TV on everybody?
And he's still got a cigarette in his mouth.
That's enough!
He's whacking Antifa with a frying pan.
I've got to play that again. And they're going to listen to. He's got to look. See the guy with the cigarette in his mouth. Check it out. Watch him.
Jesus Christ, you're going to put a TV on everybody?
What's happened to Antifa, John? What's these pink burgers? He's really enjoying that as well, isn't he?
Oh, God, that is just so funny. I mean, I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, the sound, whoever did that, if that was the sound effects, it was just absolutely spot on, but it was just too natural. I mean, I checked it out and I was listening to it and I was going, no, that is far, far too natural.
Where did that happen?
Well, to be honest with you, I've been trying to get all the information on it, and I've been asking AI, and all they were saying is that it's at something to do with pink, obviously LGBTQ plus, right?
Okay. Antifa with pink burgers getting smacked with a frying pan. That's my kind of place to live.
I just thought, oh my God, that is just so funny. So as far as I'm concerned, that gets the what the fuck? What the fuck?
I think he's my new hero, that bloke.
So
gets a shout out from me.
That's it. So if there's any showdowns in any streets or anything like that in London, all right, it's going to be a gang of people carrying a frying pan. And the police are really going, watch out, he's got a frying pan. Can you imagine? Okay. All right. Well, hot off the news, because I know that you're going to be doing something. Check this out. This is a car crash interview with a Labour minister, just for laughs. Here we go.
Key one is the Hammersmith Bridge, so that's not part of this at all.
There will be Hammersmith Bridge and others, will be, but that will be down to local. I mean, look, I can't come on your programme and give you the dates for every 3,000 bridge that will be.
I'm merely asking that one of particularly. It's been closed, I think, for around 6 years.
She's got the spinning pizza wheel of doom on her forehead, hasn't she?
You can see it.
We hear of a new initiative by the newish government, 3,000 bridges. One of the ones that really jumps off the page, of course, is Hammersmith Bridge. And you don't know whether any of these funds are going towards Hammersmith. Is that correct?
I can't name every one of the 3,000 bridges.
Respectfully, I've not asked for that, have I, Secretary?
No.
I've just asked, can you confirm that it is going to get some of the funds from this £1 billion?
Well, further detail will be set out in written statements to Parliament.
You're clueless. You cannot compute.
That's typical. That is so typical of Labour ministers now. They don't know what they're doing. They have absolutely no idea. They're their people are not briefing them properly. Now, I don't know. Is making them look bad on purpose? But, as far as I'm concerned.
I was going to say Starmer bot's not sending his best out, but I think he probably is. It got worse after that. She didn't even know where the bridge was or any of this stuff. It was a car crash. Doesn't even do it justice.
Well, I think I'm going to open up with issues before we get to the main one, which is about the war with Iran. But check this out for this prediction from Hitchens. Now check this out. Ready?
Which Hitch, Chris?
This is very urgent business, ladies and gentlemen. I beseech you. Resist it while you still can, and before the right to complain is taken away from you, which will be the next thing. You will be told you can't complain because you're Islamophobic. The term is already being introduced.
I remember him saying this.
Into the culture, as if it was an accusation of race hatred, for example, or bigotry, whereas it's only the objection to the preachings of a very extreme and absolutist religion. Watch out for these symptoms. They are not just symptoms of surrender, very often ecumenically offered to you by men of God in other robes, Christian and Jewish and smarmy ecumenical. These are the ones who will hold open the gates for the barbarians. The barbarians never take a city till someone holds the gates open for them. And it's your own preachers who will do it for you, and your own multicultural authorities who will do it for you. Resist it while you can. And if you wonder what will happen if you don't, look and see how a cricket team in Middlesex in England had to change its name by force last week because it was called, and had been for years, the Middlesex Crusaders. Look and see how stories about little pigs can't be taught to children in English schools anymore, lest offense be taken by the religion of peace.
Well, what do you say
Resist
about
it while
that?
you can.
I'll say no one listened, and we are where we are now.
It's happened.
With teachers in hiding, and Parliament being intimidated, and
they're now
being attacked, and
they're given a definition of Islamophobia, which is meant to overprotect one religion over another in this country. Now, I'm going to be quite honest with you. I'm going to say to you, this is just Labour protecting votes. Because I think that basically if they don't, okay, they're going to go their own way, and there's going to be about 30 independent Muslim MPs, within the country within the next, general election. And, I don't want them, okay? I can see exactly what's going on, and I can see what Trump is doing, and we're going to come to that later on. But I think Islam is going to take a bit of a hit in this country. So let's actually, go through to some statistics, which is exactly what the kind of thing that you do, Mark. And I put you in the same level of this guy because you've said some of these things before.
I doubt it.
Oh, no. Matt Goodwin, I think you're at the same level as this guy without a shadow of a doubt.
Well, he's just repeating what we've all been saying for 10 or 15 years, 20
Agreed.
years already. So
check this out.
For the first time, bombshell statistics that the British state does not want you to see have been revealed thanks to the Centre for Migration Control. And what they've done is they have submitted freedom of information requests to force this information out of the state, which, of course, leads everybody wondering, why is the state not making this information available to you, British taxpayers? Well, we now know that last year, in 2024, the British state imported 25% of all sexual assaults, yes, you heard that right, from overseas. In fact, if you look at the FOI data that's being revealed, I would argue that's actually much higher, closer to about 1 in 3 of all sexual assaults, because an additional 8% of people were unidentified nationalities.
Aha. Where have I heard that before, sir? It was you. Or I should be going...
Yeah. But if Vivek Cooper said 2/3 of the, I'm going to say grooming in case we get the ban for the R word possibly, but the grooming gang issue, if that was 2/3, then is that, what did he say, 8%?
Yeah.
Is it really 8% though, overall? Because if they were doing it for that, they've probably done it for everything, haven't they? So let's presume that figure's a bit higher, because whatever figure they give you is always a lie. So
Okay. Let's have it here a little bit more.
Right. It's probably more than 25%.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Of course, if you're a British national, you're a clearly identifiable nationality. So if we are really in this situation, it is absolutely shocking because, put simply, without mass immigration, sexual assaults in this country would be significantly less than what they were last year. But this shocking revelation is merely the latest in a long line of statistics that the Centre for Migration Control and others have prized from the authorities. For example, here was the data for violent crime based on nationality. Here we have the Congo, Somalia, Afghanistan and Iraq, to name just a few, all of which are vastly overrepresented when compared to the British people. Next, take a look at this. We've got sexual offences by nationality. Once again, Afghanistan, Eritrea, Namibia and Chad.
There's the British people right at the bottom there, UK. That's the representation.
This reminds me of the unemployment status and benefits.
Yep.
It's similar to that.
Well, we're coming to that. Check this out.
Among many others, hugely dwarfing the British population's representation among these crimes. We also have benefit claimants for every 1,000 people. Again, as you may have guessed, it's a similar story.
We've reported on this before.
With the Congolese, Iraqis.
Look at that. Congo, Iraq, Afghanistan. These are the people claiming benefits in this country. As represented per thousand. Sorry to interrupt you.
No,
right, but look at the UK down at the bottom there. UK down at the bottom as against what they're doing. I mean, the government are actually aiding and abetting what's going on in this country.
I mean, you would have thought we'd have been top for employment and at least benefits, but it was actually the Irish.
Yep. True.
Ethnicity, so.
Oh, yeah. Check this out.
And Afghans topping the table, well ahead of the British people. And now today's data spells out the following. Despite foreign nationals making up only 11% of our population, they're responsible for 22% of all rapes and 26% of sexual assaults.
Now let that sink in.
Right. Yeah, let this sink in. That's foreign nationals, yeah?
Yep.
What about foreigners who've been granted citizenship as well?
Well, they haven't actually segregated those within those figures.
Exactly. So imagine, because, okay, they might have been given a passport which says they're British, but that's just by paper. They're not actually British, English, Irish, Scottish, Welsh, are they? So I wonder if we did it properly, what the figures would really be, John.
Well, I think obviously and I know that it's going to be a lot higher representation, right, of the immigrants to this country. We know that.
Truly, truly shocking. And the top offenders by nationality, India, Romania, Poland and Pakistan. All of this, of course, is an insult to the hard-working, law-abiding, tax-paying British majority, who, a bit like me, are absolutely fed up of what's happening to this country. Migration, we are always told by its advocates, makes Britain better. Diversity is our strength. Apparently it improves our economy and our culture. But the British people have suspected for a very long time what these freedom of information requests are revealing. They are being lied to about all of this. And the establishment knows the truth. That's precisely...
No kidding. They're being lied to? Can you believe that, Mark? They're being lied to.
Oh, are we being gaslighted again? I tell you what, though, seeing as we kind of now know which nationalities are, overrepresented in these crimes and who are milking the state for money.
Yeah.
Is it time? Have they overstayed their welcome now, do you think?
Oh,
is it time
totally.
to have a serious look at who we're letting in and where from and start some deportations? Like
well, if we're sending planes across to help Israel to knock out missiles, okay? Well, then in that case, then, what's stopping us from stopping these people coming across in the dinghies?
Cowards and weaklings and lawyers.
A bullshit government that's actually telling the public lies. Let him finish off.
Why it's been so difficult to get hold of this data. I mean, think about this. They blame you for misinformation while hiding information from you. It's absolutely bonkers. Yeah. Day after day, more and more evidence emerges that the great mass immigration mantra was a myth, a lie and a sham. And it's all been at the expense of you, the British people. And I think it's time that we brought this era of mass migration to an end and fulfilled the foremost duty of any state, which is to protect its borders and to protect its people.
Which proves to me that this government is doing its own people harm purposely. There is no two ways about it. You know, how can you actually say that they cannot stop those people coming across in the dinghies when they're actually going across and they're fighting for countries like Israel against Iran? And then they're allowing... Sorry, Mark, go ahead.
The weak and feeble.
I don't think it's just that. I think that their whole thinking is actually detrimental to the interests of the people of this country. You know, it's as simple as that. And when you listen, I mean, check this out, okay? This is one of the links that you sent me to Dominic Cummings, okay, which you wanted to bring up, okay? Now, check this out, Mark. I mean, you know, seriously.
So what you have to do is you have to repeal the Human Rights Act. You have to state that you're withdrawing from the jurisdiction of the Strasbourg court. And you then deploy the Navy and you stop the boats. And you say, nobody is landing from any of these boats. Everybody from these boats that we pick up will get dropped on an island somewhere. No one will be coming to mainland Britain of any kind.
Yep.
The boats will be destroyed. And the people organising the boats are going to be put on a list for UK Special Forces to kill or capture, the way that we do with various terrorist organisations. As soon as you announce that is your policy and take serious steps to do it, the boat stops straight away, because the people doing this are not ideological terrorists, right, who want to die and get into and fight about this. They're there to make money.
Correct.
So as soon as they realise, oh, an island nation is actually just going to stop these stupid boats, they're obviously going to send the people somewhere else.
So, Dominic, can I just be clear? What you're saying for the boats is that special forces should be able to capture or kill the gang masters that are arranging for these dinghies.
Correct.
Why not?
He didn't even hesitate. He just said it straight off. He said, correct. Okay? So, I mean,
wouldn't it?
Well, that would solve a lot of the problems, wouldn't it? Because you kill them.
I think it would, mate, yeah.
They're not going to be back. Okay? And, you know, this guy's got it right. I mean, I know, okay, look at the shape of his head. You know there's something wrong with this guy. But, you know, he's got it. I mean, he's nailing it, isn't he? Here's another 20 seconds of him.
He's not saying anything we haven't all been saying for
no,
years.
I know.
Years, though, has he? It's just people tend to listen to him.
Well, you know, this is the first of two interviews, you know, that we had of this guy. Okay.
We've all been.
If you actually are going to prioritise stopping it, which I think you should do, you can't have tens of thousands of people a year coming over on these stupid things and then stacked up in hotels for which we're paying billions of quid. Then they run around, a lot of them committing crimes, undermining any kind of public support for on immigration policy. It's an all-round farcical disaster that makes us look like a joke country.
Yep. Now,
because we are a joke country.
We're a joke country. Right, you know, so, you know, quite simply, he nailed that. He nailed that, you know, quite simply.
If it wasn't for people like ourselves, though, who've been talking about this for years, and some people even longer, he wouldn't be able to come out and say all this anymore. He wouldn't be saying this, would he? It's like the same thing like the likes of Tommy and that I've done for the, you know, for the grooming gangs and that. People wouldn't be talking about it without people highlighting it first and making it safe for everyone else. Do you know what I mean?
Well, how much of this is actually being aided and abetted from the inside, from government departments?
Or most of it. We know it is, don't we? Let's face it.
Well, they actually, said it quite honestly. I mean, check this out.
Pakistani and Somali gangs over decades. While Whitehall continues to import people from the exact same tribal areas responsible. In January, Number 10 Downing Street claimed that Elon was spreading conspiracy theories about national cover-ups. This is wrong. I witnessed the attempts at these cover-ups myself when I was working in Whitehall, including the deliberate attempt by government departments to use courts to block reporting of the entire story.
Well, then it's about time he came out and told us names, departments.
Well, I think he will. I think he will, because he wants to be called in for that inquiry. That's the reason why he's doing this. I'm absolutely certain of it. He wants to actually be a part of that inquiry, okay? Because also, all right, he was in government at the time when calls for an inquiry, especially in the Conservative government, were just falling on deaf ears. And he knows it. Okay? So he's coming clean with a lot of stuff. So it's within his interests to actually tell it. But by the same token, this guy has got the deets. He's got it. And there's no two ways about it. He knows exactly what went on during the Conservative reign. And the Conservatives, as far as I'm concerned, are also going to be finished, with this. Especially, okay, with, exactly what's, gone on. And, I mean, even at a regional level, listen to what this guy's got to say, and this was a story that we brought up about Portsmouth and a councillor.
Yeah, I've got a few things on this, mate.
Yeah. Now, here's what he had to say, and check this out.
Hello, I'm George Madgwick. What I'm about to tell you is probably going to get me into some serious trouble over the next couple of weeks. But I always said that I'd be open and transparent with people, and then you can judge me how you want to judge me. So here goes. Buckle yourselves in. Last week, a man who arrived here on a boat via the crossings and who's been placed in Portsmouth, has been accused, charged, and held in remand for 2 counts. One for raping a young British girl in our city, and the other one for recording of a private act. First and foremost, you've got to remember that there's a victim at the heart of this, a young lady who's had her life destroyed, and for that, on behalf of the whole city, I'm incredibly sorry to her and her family, because she must be going through hell. But it's important that people are aware of this. If you can share this video, I'd appreciate it, because we've really got to get awareness of this, because not only has this act happened, which could have been avoidable via certain decisions, but also I was put under, and not just me, others have been put under increased pressure to not reveal this information or not tell anybody about this information. That is fundamentally wrong. I am saying this to you as a resident, not as a councillor, not in my elected role, but as a resident. I attended court on Tuesday to get a copy of the documentation of his charge. That documentation released to me his name, which is a guy called Mubarak Ibrahim. It revealed to me his location, which is obviously Portsmouth, in one of the places that people stay when they get put here via the Home Office. They informed me what he was being charged for, which was rape and recording of private recording of that situation, and also that he was remanded in custody on Monday morning at around 11:30 a.m.
Now, just remember, this is all publicly available information. Yeah. So this guy is doing nothing wrong.
That's what I mean. Never mind him being in trouble. Whoever the cop was who told him to shut up for the sake of diversity should be fired the next day for misconduct.
Well, it wasn't just the cop, it was also the CEO of Portsmouth Council.
Well, this is the problem, you see, because unless there's a court order, there's no legal obligation to him for him to listen to what they've said.
Correct.
That there's only certain circumstances about the safety of the victim, don't prejudice a trial.
Yeah.
And what else can there be? Maybe protecting the suspect, even if he's likely to be, set upon.
Yeah.
But just to cover it up. The sad thing is, though, John, there is no law we can actually prosecute these people for doing this. They're quite within their rights to ask him to not say anything.
Yeah.
But he's not legally obliged to follow through on it.
Well,
so
they should be taking his testimony that he's saying now publicly into consideration, because the woman concerned, right, who's the head of the council down there, okay, is on 160-something thousand pounds a year. Okay, get her out, fire her, get rid of her. Okay,
I'd say. I know I'm always moaning, they're making new laws for this, that, and the other, but I'd actually make a new law now to deal with people who try and cover things up like this. And in fact, we need a new department. Never mind Dodge. I've come up with a new one here. It's called Doggia, or we can call it Dogger, the Department of Government and Institutional Accountability. And I tell you what, that would be my dream job, John.
That's
heads would
Italian.
absolutely-
Dogia.
Yeah.
Dogia.
You could ditch the institution and call it Dogger. But that sounds a bit...
Well, here's a bit more.
I tell you what, mate, that'd be my dream job. I'd sort that out.
Here you go.
Held in custody until the 14th of July at 10:30 a.m., where he's going to be attending Portsmouth Crown Court for a plea hearing. So that's the information that they've given me publicly. So I'm not disclosing anything that's not public information. I'm not doing anything like that at all. But there's two issues here. One, this is a reason why public don't trust politicians and don't trust public bodies. The moment this happened, they should have been honest with people, honest with residents, and told them the truth about what happened and what's going on in the city of Portsmouth, not trying to encourage people to hide it and not speak about it.
True.
You'll remember that I put a status up a couple of days ago that said I was really frustrated because you get information and people like me aren't allowed to share that information. And I was put under a lot of pressure. I was even messaged by a senior officer at midnight saying, do not reveal this information, blah, and basically telling me off or even suggesting that I was going to tell people. And that's wrong. It's almost a cover-up.
Senior officer.
That's what I was talking about. He should be fired for misconduct in the morning, but he won't be, will he? He'll probably get a Rainbow Award or she. Right, well, he said public trust. Well, it's at an all-time low with the police, and is it any wonder? And it's going to go further down the drain because they're just traitors. Again, there's no accountability. No one will pay, and the merry-go-round of sexual assault is going to continue.
It is.
The police, they're just another institution who's captured John, aren't they? And I'm going to be totally honest. I think we need a new police force. Start again with new morals, principles, and possibly like the ones they originally set out with. Well, people legal measures, but they need also legal measures now to come down hard on this corruption and misconduct and stamp it right out.
Well, people are actually going to groups of people like the bikers, the chapters, for security. They're employing.
We need to set up something. A new police force, mate.
And I agree, because they're actually showing the police force up for what they are, inadequate. And there is no two ways about it. They're inadequate.
They're poor at the minute. I mean, they do a lot of good work with some stuff. But I think we just need to start again and take the ones who are actually capable from this, what are they, police service, they call it now. It depends who they're serving, doesn't it, really? I get the decent ones over and then put some measures in place. If you mess around, there's corruption and there's misconduct, you're gone. You are damned straight away. Stamp it out.
Get rid of them.
Yeah. And a proper rigorous vetting system. So we
those
don't have all
ones,
this woke shit.
The ones that have actually turned a blind eye, take their pensions off them.
Yeah.
Deny their pensions. That's the only way that you're going to get a message through to the rest of them to actually do the right thing. Here we go.
See, John, the ones who took the blind eye with like the grooming gangs and stuff, mate, they can be done for misconduct.
Yeah.
Look, you can get a hefty sentence for that. But these ones who are just telling people, don't say anything. We need to find a way of dealing with them to stamp this out. Oh. But before you go on, is the thinking of these people retarded? Because at this point, they're still trying to cover this stuff up.
Yep.
Like we don't know what's been going on for years now.
But we do.
So again, are they just lying to themselves to just blot this out, like stick their head in the sand, pretend it's not happening?
Well, if you keep on saying something's black rather than when it's white, then people will start believing it's black.
But they don't if everyone stood there and it's been white for years and everyone's like, it's definitely white. Like,
yeah,
it's like you're trying to tell everyone the sun's blue tomorrow and the sky's yellow. I just don't think anyone's having it, mate.
We're going to come on to something to do with authoritarian regimes, but Labour are, in my opinion, an authoritarian regime. They're just disguising it in a lot of ways, like bringing in Islamophobic laws to try and actually stop people from doing things. I don't know why the hell they're protecting this religion. I'm sick and tired of it. And people, I've got something to show you later on, which I was absolutely so made up with, right, from Donald Trump. But here we go. We'll finish off with this guy. Here we go.
Nice to cover up. And you understand why people are annoyed. And secondly, what's frustrating is that in this city, we have National Party politicians that have held up plaques only several months ago saying refugees are welcome here. And they've been chanting on the steps, no hate, no fear, refugees are welcome here. And they've been signing council of sanctuary pledges to which encourages more of this. I'm lost for words. But I really hope those politicians that have been standing on those steps with refugees are welcome here signs really take a second look in the mirror and think about the consequences of what they're suggesting. This situation is completely avoidable. And I know there's British people out there that also rape and murder and do terrible crimes. I know that. But they're our responsibility. They're people that were grown here. And I know they do terrible things and their key should be thrown away with them too. But this was avoidable because this man should never have been here. He should never have been allowed to be free on the streets to walk around and do violent acts to our people. He shouldn't be able in that situation to do that. These people that come across on boats should be held in a secure facility until all the rigorous checks have been done and until due process is done. But I don't know. You guys make up your own minds, but I just want to tell you the truth. I'm going to be hung, drawn, and quartered for this now. But over to you guys. I'm sorry for giving you this news, but the Sun.
Well, is the guy telling the truth, or is he telling the truth?
Yeah. Well, what can they do? Cancel him, sack him. That's about it. They can't prosecute him for that because he's not in the wrong, is he? As you said, that information's freely to the public. So, well, maybe they didn't want the bit about where he stayed to come out, but I think everyone would have guessed, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Just his address was just Portsmouth, was it?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't suppose he's told you his ethnicity. Pick and choose when they let that one out.
Yeah. Well, they were quite quick to actually say about that guy in Liverpool that drove into the crowds and showed a picture of him being a white British.
Well, of course they will. It was probably a good move, actually, because I'd say normally it isn't. So maybe there would have been a kick-off. Maybe it was the right thing to do. It probably was. So why can't they do that all the time? They don't want to kick off when it doesn't go in their favour, do they? If you don't want to kick off, maybe put a stop to it.
Yeah.
Stop dealing with the symptoms and actually sort the problem out. But
where's a young lady that kind of sums up, the feelings of people in the UK right now?
Is anyone else fed up with this shitty country? And the cost of living? The fuck is going on? I don't know anyone that isn't struggling at the moment, and it's actually a joke. It's a joke. Like, I work full time. I work 8 till 5, 5 days a week. I pick up weekend work and work in a bar. My boyfriend works full time, picks up weekend work, works in the evenings. And yet we've got a week and a half left till payday, and I'm worried about how the fuck I'm going to feed us. How are we going to feed ourselves? Sorry, what? I've just had to spend my last money choosing between feeding myself and my dogs. Obviously, I fed my dogs. Got them.
Yep.
Harringtons. What the fuck? I just want to go and be able to, feed myself and not stress about it and, not worry about how I'm going to get to work. I already have put in to HR to work from home twice a week because I can't afford to drive to the office 5 days a week. I rent a house that's only a 2-bedroom, small town, terrace house. I don't own my house. My car I've had for 8 years. It's literally falling apart. It's done 200,000 miles. I can't afford to fix it. This is going to go kaput on me soon. Then I'm well fucked. Now what the fuck am I going to do then? Because HR aren't going to approve 5 days a week from home. What the fuck is going on? I just want to do girly things and get my fucking nails done. And I can't because I've got to worry about getting a loaf of fucking bread and a pint of milk.
Hey, listen. Okay, how many people feel that way? I mean, we've got the highest utility costs, in the world. The highest. Okay? We've got the highest food costs in Europe. All right? We're being ripped off in this country. This government knows it, and they're going to squeeze us even more. We've got a council, even in Cheshire, we've got Cheshire West, who are going to bring in, because Karen Shaw lost the election in Runcorn and Helsby. So she's taking it out on everybody now by saying you can only go from April 26. You can only go to the tip 26 times a year. No, you can only 30 times a year. My apologies. 30 times a year. And then after that, you're going to get charged. Okay?
What's that going to encourage, though, John?
Fly tipping. You got it. You know,
Honestly,
it's going to happen.
It's not us who need to check our thinking with the police correct. It's these people who need to check their
I would say to anybody, if they're going to fly tip, put it outside any of the offices of Cheshire West. Okay? Fly tip down there, because who the hell are these people? They're not making our lives better. In fact, they're actually squeezing the life out of everybody financially. They're finding every little thing that they can do to squeeze another penny out of you. Okay? You know, you get to the point where you hate these people. You know, and there is absolutely no doubt about it. And they need to actually have, you know, in fact, I think what we should do is we should get a board on the screen of all the councillors that are bringing in all moves to actually make our lives more miserable. And we should give them a league table, you know, at the top, you know, who is it?
Sounds like a good idea, yeah.
You know, I think that would be absolutely brilliant. I mean, at least, you know, tell me something. Tell me what actually anybody is doing to inspire people to do better.
I know. Electric buses. I know they still haven't brought them in, have they? 4 years ago.
No.
I don't know, but there's loads of Muppets there protesting outside in
Bus
London
lanes in
some
Chester.
crap that doesn't even involve us. But
Jesus Christ. Yeah. These people, you know, they just don't inspire anything, okay, at all. As far as I'm concerned, you know, they inspire misery as far as I'm concerned. Misery, okay?
Well, while you're on the point of the council, just before we move on, remember it was that long ago now, I can't remember when it was. They were so proud of their green spaces. They were going to do all this stuff to these green spaces. I filled in a consultation and gave them some recommendations on how to improve the green spaces, seeing as I'm actually embarrassed to take my son to these green spaces. So we went round the green spaces again. Mate, if you want to play football around here, mate, you're going to need some kind of flair because you'll get lost in the grass.
Yeah.
And no one will find you if you're a small child.
Yeah.
So quite embarrassing, our green spaces, actually, because none of them around here have been cut in so long. So what?
It's got to be the same.
To be proud of?
It's got to be the same in other areas as well. Okay.
Yeah, but what do the kids do? Where do they go and play now? Do you want to encourage them to get out and exercise and, you know, get out in the community and socialise and get fit? Well, they can't, can they? So they're all just sat in on the computers now. Was the fields are like the jungle.
Or our social media.
Give them an email about that and wait for the lack of a response.
Well, let's look to something more welcome by somebody that, you know, is a believer and doing something about it. I mean, check this out, okay? This is what's happening over in Israel right now on the main highways. Check this out. There you go. Thank you, Mr. President.
Yeah, but to be honest, I'd be a little bit miffed off if I was Israel. They've done all the hard work for months, just totally like fighting about 4 or 5 fronts, and then these come in with fancy planes and drop some bombs, and it's all there, all the heroes.
Yeah. I get that. I get that.
But yeah, thanks anyway.
You know, but you know, literally, what they know is what they're saying is, we know you've got our back. The most powerful military nation on earth.
I'm going to be totally honest, and I think Trump was doing this anyway. Yeah. This has been planned for months. If you listen to what he said when he came down the steps 2016, he said Iran will not have a nuclear weapon. So although Israel are thinking he's done it to help them, it's America first, I think, with this one.
Well, I would go with that.
Troops at risk. It's been America. They've been threatening for years. They've been threatening the bases.
Oh yeah. They've been saying death to the US for I don't know how long, and also they've been funding terrorism throughout the whole of the world. Regime change.
Like, there's some divvies on the news today, John, banging on about this. This isn't self-defense, right? So their logic is a country, right, can blatantly state their intention to wipe another country out, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's in their religious scripture, it's in their policy, it's in their own statements.
Yeah.
They can fund multiple proxy armies, right, to simultaneously attack a country, and they can repeatedly fire hundreds of ballistic missiles, right, indiscriminately into civilians. But someone can't fight back. Is that what they're saying?
Yeah.
it doesn't make sense. I mean, I've got some quotes. Look, you could listen to Khomeini, whatever you want to call him. 2018, our stance against Israel is the same stance we've always taken.
Yeah.
Israel is a malignant cancerous tumour in the West Asian region that needs to be removed and eradicated. It is possible, and it will happen. Here he is again. 2024, God willing, we will destroy Israel. The destruction of Israel will be fulfilled. The formation of Palestine from the river to the sea, God willing. We'll see that day too. October the 11th. Now, this was just after that horrible thing, what Hamas did. And he wrote this in Hebrew, taking a piss a little bit, but Zionist tyrants, you will never arise from your defeat on the Sabbath of the 7th of October. You brought this calamity upon yourselves. And this goes on and on and on. It's in their constitution, their 12er Shia, this version of Islam. They've got laws that state... Do you know what? They're not as harsh in some of their scripture as the Sunnis. It's more a political thing, which has come from these ayatollahs. Both of them. So they use the Quran, they use their own hadiths, they use the early battles Muhammad and early Muslims had with Jews.
A lot of people don't understand that there are two Islamic faiths. There's Shia and Sunni. Okay?
There's a few more, but they're the main two.
They're the main two. And Iran were the Shia. And they don't like the Sunni. And that's why the rest of the Sunnis, which is mostly the rest of the Middle East, okay, are not going to help them. And that's the truth, okay? Check this out, Mark. You ready? Now, this is going on in our country now. Ceasefire now.
Right ding dong with the police, aren't they, outside? Because they're getting prescribed.
Yeah.
Next month, there's a vote next Monday.
Now,
I mean,
people don't understand that these people are all being... Where's all these signs coming from? You know, who's funding all these signs? I can guarantee you that it will all be leading back to Iran. And that money is going to absolutely dry up now. Okay?
Yeah, but if you've been watching any of this kicking off, you can have a look at that little picture in front of you there and tell me how many people who look like they probably are from Gaza are actually there.
Nobody. Right? They're all
most
idiots.
Just not that bothered. Look,
what I would say is, you know, support the country you live in or live in the country you support, i.e., fuck off to Palestine. Yeah. Go. That's it. End of story.
See, we're going to see now how much support they really have on Iran, because at the minute, they've just fired... This literally happened about an hour before we came on. Some people might have heard this, some people might not. They've started firing at the US bases in the Middle East. Apparently they've sent a barrage of ballistic missiles to Qatar. They're saying 10 were fired, 9 were intercepted, and 1 hit nothing. But on the videos, it looks like a lot more. But apparently there's no deaths, there's no damage.
Yeah.
So Iran's a paper pussy.
They are. And you've got
they've just upset Bahrain, Qatar, UAE, and Saudis, Kuwait. They've just upset pretty much all the Sunnis in the area. Yeah. So goodbye.
Oh, they're finished. There is no two ways about it. They are finished. Regime change, okay, is on the menu right now. That's it. And there will be no going back. The Shah of Iran, you know, the king of Iran, the original Shah's son, okay, is actually coming out and actually saying to the army, you know, if you want to defect, do it now.
I know, but there's mixed signals, mate, because the Israelis are saying, just everyone stay where you are. We're still bombing the crap out of you for quite some time.
Yeah, well, I would as well. I would be turning around to him and I'd be saying that as well. Say, look, but, you know, if there are channels that are being opened, which he has said he's opened, that they can actually contact and say, look, we want to defect. He's saying that it doesn't make them immune if they're guilty of crimes, but what it does is it stops them from being basically killed right now because, you know, the warning is to them all, you're all going to be eliminated unless you actually put your arms down. Simple as that. And the IDF are not going to be, they're not going to be nice about it. You know, it's as simple as that. You know, and here's a snippet from what they were saying.
Before you do, you've got it. Look, whether you whether you think Israel are right or wrong or whatever, I'm not here to debate that, but you've got to look at it. If you're going to poke someone for this long,
yeah,
and you're going to say all this stuff repeatedly that you're going to annihilate people and wipe them off the face of the earth, and then they start getting some decent weaponry themselves, and you're thinking, should we still say this? But they've still said it. So what do they expect's going to happen, John? Being funny. Let's say we got attacked by Wales, and then Scotland joined it, and France and Germany and Russia. So we're just going to sit there and take it, like,
yeah.
No, and then someone's going to come and help you, aren't they?
It's just like exactly what's happening. Islam in this country has been emboldened by this government, who have allowed them to get away with so much, okay, and been protecting them. And the judiciary have been actually protecting these people as well by allowing certain rapists off by saying, well, they didn't really know that it wasn't the culture in this country. All right? Wait a minute. Doesn't the Quran actually say straight off that Muhammad actually married? How old was she, please, Mark?
The Quran doesn't, but the Hadiths do, which is the actions and the sayings of the Prophet.
Yeah.
Which is the example of him. And the Quran states that you have to follow the example of the Prophet. And they say he married Aisha when she was 6.
Well, there you go.
Consummated the marriage when she was 9.
Well, isn't that wonderful?
And then if you look at that Ayatollah, not the previous, not the current Ayatollah, but the previous one, he's put out his own Islamic rulings on books.
Yeah.
And we're probably going to get banned on it. So I'm going to try and say this like we don't get in trouble or restricted. Let's just say his books, they allow contact with babies in a way that no sane person would actually even think of, never mind writing a book.
I get it.
Until they're obviously old enough to do the hokey pokey properly, you can do other stuff. Babies. And that was the Imam of Peace. He's actually a Muslim. I don't understand how, after they've tried to ram this down his neck all his life. But he's come out and done videos of this for years, and he shows, and he reads the Arabic, and he explains it all.
Well, here's I want that whole religion eradicated from this country. I want it away. Okay, I'm with Douglas Murray on that.
You think the trans thing came from like the woke stuff, but did it really? Because the Iranians were on this years ago.
Yeah.
If you look at this 12 of Shia Islam again, mate, and you look at the same book that promotes the disgusting things I've just said about touching.
Yeah.
Fucking babies, mate.
Yeah,
like, seriously. That in there, mate, they legalize sex changes way before anyone else.
Mm. In fact, I wouldn't be at all surprised if they forced it. Okay. You know, in my opinion.
Well, their thinking is, well, we can't allow people to be gay.
Yeah.
So if someone's a bit like that, then they've got to be trans.
Do they do that with the goats as well?
They've got a lot in common.
Did they do that with the goats as well?
No, they're just straight in there. But anyway, they've got a lot in common, haven't they? The wokies and the Shias especially.
Well, here's one of the generals.
Go on.
One of the generals that was involved in the attack. Just explaining a few things.
He's going to ruin all my notes here, isn't he?
Is he? Oh shit.
Yeah, go on. Let him say it then.
Planner, operator that made this mission possible.
Oh, this is going.
Their actions reflect the highest standards
of
the United States Armed Forces. This operation was designed to severely degrade Iran's nuclear weapons infrastructure. It was planned and executed across multiple domains and theaters with coordination that reflects our ability to project power globally with speed and precision at the time and place of our nation's choosing. This was a highly classified mission with very few people in Washington knowing the timing or nature of this plan.
Not only in Washington, but they didn't let Starmer know either.
I was going to say that, yeah.
Yeah, he didn't know anything about it, and he's out of it now. They are not including him, in any of the big stuff.
I'm going to have a punt, and I'm going to say I reckon I knew before Starmer, because I was literally to some channels I watched that are proper on the ball, John.
Yeah.
They're on there way before like anyone on all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like we were literally monitoring. Well, obviously they played little games with the B2s, and they sent some to the west, so we thought they were going one way when they've actually come.
Well, they had two sets of planes, didn't they? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they had one group. They split a couple off, and they took some refuelers and took them out into the Pacific, turned the transponders off, so everyone thought they were going that way, which means they might have landed maybe Diego Garcia or wherever they were heading.
They didn't even go to Diego Garcia. They didn't use it.
No, they came east. So they've either come Southern Europe or across North Africa, and they've just come all the way, refueling. They've obviously met some fighters along the way somewhere.
Hello,
B2s,
fighters.
And then they've took them 25 minutes to smash him. But I'll let him continue, and I'll fill in any blanks he misses.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I'm going to give a reaction to them because I actually like them. Here we go.
What did you do? Oh, you put a thumbs up. It's very small.
I was so happy.
It's very small, and I haven't got my glasses on. I couldn't really see.
I was so happy with what they did. Yeah.
Mate, Midnight Hammer it was called, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Mate, that's the largest B2 mission the Americans have ever done.
Oh, those machines are just, for so many hours, that they're in the air, they have to have 18 hours of maintenance afterwards, to actually sort them out.
7 B2s, mate. I know these things are quite old as well, they're getting replaced in like 2032 with
they
a
are
new version.
Still absolutely the B's and E's or the 14. B's and 2s.
Imagine having 14, 30,000 pound, what are they called? Ordnance penetrators, bunker busters. Imagine having them dropped on your house.
Oh, Jesus.
And they had the submarine as well, that fired Tomahawks. And I've worked out there was about 125 planes. So I've worked out there could have been about 70 or 80 F-35s, F-16s, all them. You've got your 4th gen, your 5th gen fighters. That is some force flying over there.
I'm telling you. I mean, the
Who's
Chinese.
going to take them on?
No, it wouldn't. Even the Chinese, Russians, and North Koreans all put together couldn't actually match them. I don't know. They are the most powerful military on Earth, and people don't realize it.
They are, but if say someone managed to shoot some of the air refueling tankers down, it would have all ended in tears, wouldn't it? But getting near that posse of planes would have been very difficult.
Oh, difficult.
The radars are superior on the fighters.
Oh, God. Without a doubt. Here we go.
I'll refer you to the graphic on the side as I walk you through some of the operational details. At midnight Friday into Saturday morning, a large B-2 strike package comprised of bombers launched from the continental United States.
Do you like that? A B-2 package?
A large package. It's definitely a bit of willy waggling here, isn't it, John?
I'm carrying a package here for you, lady. Check this out.
I'm going to drop my big package on
As
around.
part of a plan to maintain tactical surprise, part of the package proceeded to the west and into the Pacific as a decoy. A deception effort known only to an extremely small number of planners and key leaders here in Washington and in Tampa. The main strike package, comprised of 7 B-2 Spirit bombers, each with 2 crew members, proceeded quietly to the east with minimal communications.
What, were they not playing any music in the background, like something from Rocky?
Yeah, down. Well, I the tiger was here, something.
Something like that. Yeah, we're coming to get you, Khomeini. All right. Check out, breathe your last, mister.
Must have been difficult, though, because they were on, limited communications.
Yeah.
So,
well,
they would have practiced this before anyway. They should be able to fly without having to.
Starmer and Macron were trying to get through to him like nobody's business. Are you really going now? Are you going? No,
2 weeks, mate. Tell everyone to be there in 2 weeks. As soon as they said
throughout
2 weeks,
the 18-hour flight into the target area, the aircraft completed multiple in-flight refuelings. Once over land, the B-2s linked up with escort and support aircraft in a complex, tightly timed maneuver requiring exact synchronization across multiple platforms in a narrow piece of airspace, all done with minimal communications.
Because it was already planned. They all knew what. They didn't have to actually sit there and go, what are we doing? Are we?
That's it, yeah.
No, we don't.
This is why I said, John, I think Trump was doing this regardless of what anyone else was doing, Israel or anyone.
Absolutely.
Because this has been planned for months, right? And he's given him 60 days. So it was already planned. He's given him 60 days.
Yep.
Nothing's happened. They've gone, right, we're coming. And the Israelis thought, we'd better jump in there as well then, hadn't we? And soften it up for them. But it is a bit of willy waggling, though, isn't it? Think how you'd feel
if you have to say,
John, if you
were saying willy waggling, America is dongered in. they are.
Well, think about
King
how that looks,
dongered in.
Think how it looks for like the likes of Putin. He's thinking, Trump doesn't when he gives you 60 days, he means it. Or you get about 17 and he's on your case. And he must be thinking, them planes were actually built for the Russians like years ago. And he's thinking, oh God.
Jesus.
So now he's come out, as he said, we won't be sending any nukes to Iran, don't worry.
No, that's it. Because they know. There's no two ways
will
about
that
it.
help? John, do you think that'll help now with the Russia-Ukraine thing? Possibly?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, it'll start to actually make things clear. I mean, if you think about it, if you look at our Air Force, we've got 500 thereabouts military aircraft, okay? And you can go up the ladder. Turkey, and Egypt, yeah, they've got a lot. I know, somewhere around about 1,500 each, something like maybe 3,000, okay? America have got 14,500 military aircraft, and you can see some of them in the Straits of Hormuz there, right? And even the combined forces of China, Russia, North Korea, and all the rest of that shit, that they think, even the combined forces wouldn't even come close to what America's got. So, and I'm not boasting about them. I'm just telling you, like, straight facts. That's it.
China's getting there, mate.
It's getting there.
I think China might have a bigger navy, but whether they're as good.
Well, that's the thing.
They've not fought wars, have they, in how long? So, although they've got the stuff, do they really know how to use it? And
that's the other
as
thing.
good as it should be? Because you have wars, you learn from them, don't you? That's why. Well, that's why we used to get involved in pretty much everything, because
we've got the experience.
It helps to develop your army as well as you're going along. Look,
absolutely.
About it now, if you're not going down the drone route and all that stuff now, you're going to struggle in wars in the future, because everyone should be looking at the likes of Ukraine and that and learning from that. But
let's hear what
Israelis have.
Oh yeah. Let's hear what President Trump had to say on it. And I was absolutely enamored with this speech. Check it out. There's a bit of a lead up here because he actually walks out.
He doesn't say much, though, that you didn't expect, does he?
No, he doesn't. But I mean, there are a few things.
He wackled his willy a bit, didn't he? And then,
yes. Well, that's okay. You want to measure dicks. This is the right time.
His dong.
Yep.
Don got his dong out and give it a waggle.
Jesus,
anyway,
Don, it was winking at us. We could see it. There are no two ways about it. It was winking at us, Don. All right, there you go. I mean, if you compare it to, Mr. Micro Penis over here, there's just no competition, is there? Check this out.
I hope you're talking about yourself there, Mom.
Yeah, it was me.
Thanks.
All right, let's get you back.
I think that's the end of the speech.
No, I get it.
That was a quick one.
Here we go. This is the big lead up. Here we go. Big walk up. Look at that, checking the lead up. And he's got his team behind there. There's Vance, there's Rubio, and there's Hegsmith. There you go. Okay, look, serious look here. Coming right up. Here we go.
Thank you very much.
That's serious.
A short time ago, the U.S. military carried out massive precision strikes on the 3 key nuclear facilities in the Iranian regime, Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan. Everybody heard those names for years as they built this horribly destructive enterprise. Our objective was the destruction of Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity and a stop to the nuclear threat posed by the world's #1 state sponsor of terror.
There you go. State sponsor of terror. And that's why Keir Starmer was worried over here about any cells, right, having an effect and opening up and creating, issues with Keir Starmer if he said in any way that he was supporting the U.S. strike on Iran. Okay? Piece of shit, tell you.
Report to the world that the strikes were a spectacular military success. Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated. Iran, the bully of the...
Well,
I mean...
They can only take it from what they know.
Yeah, the Iranians are coming out and saying you didn't quite do it. So the Israelis are flying over now as we speak, hammering the places again, just to make sure.
Well, they'll find out if those people from the army defect, and especially anybody that's got any control higher up. They're actually going to say, yeah, there's another nuclear facility.
Well, that's what I mean. There could be one people don't know about, but I think the Israeli intelligence is pretty good. So they knew about this one, they're going to know. But there's videos of a lot of trucks being there over the last couple of days. So have they managed to sneak any of it out? But I mean, you're going to drive trucks around with full of uranium while everyone's dropping bombs. No. I think that's a bit... but you never know. But it's worrying if it did, because where will it go, you know?
Yeah.
And what will it be used for?
Bit dodgy. Here we go.
Middle East must now make peace. If they do not, future attacks will be far greater and a lot easier. For 40 years, Iran has been saying death to America, death to Israel. They have been killing our people, blowing off their arms, blowing off their legs with roadside bombs. That was their specialty. We lost over 1,000 people, and hundreds of thousands throughout the Middle East and around the world have died as a direct result of their hate. In particular, so many were killed by their general, Qasem Soleimani. I decided a long time ago that I would not let this happen. It will not continue. I want to thank and congratulate Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu. We worked as a team like perhaps no team has ever worked before. And we've gone a long way to erasing this horrible threat to Israel.
Yeah. No thanks to the rest of Europe who are still trying to negotiate, with Iran. They're finished, but they're still trying to negotiate with them.
I'm not really sure what they're trying to negotiate anymore, John. I mean,
they're finished.
Hey, look, if you like Trump or not, whether you think this was the right decision or not, one thing you've got to give him is he sticks to his word.
Yeah, he does.
He's always said he's not going to let Iran do this and do that. I mean, I wouldn't have liked to have been in that position. I'm not really going to say whether I was for it or against it, but that must have been a tough call, because you risk turning that into another Iraq, Syria, Afghanistan, Libya, another mess what actually was worse than what we claimed to be getting rid of in the first place.
Yeah.
Or do you let these proxy wars and this state-sponsored terrorism continue, the chance of Iran doing something with a nuke, or now the chance of someone else going in and taking this stuff off Iran when they're weak as well?
No, it's not going to happen.
Or did he know something we didn't? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, tough call, but whether you think it was the right move or not, it was a big decision, wasn't it?
Yeah.
With all of that being said, this cannot continue. There will be either peace or there will be tragedy for Iran far greater than we have witnessed over the last 8 days. Remember, there are many targets left. Tonight's was the most difficult of them all, by far, and perhaps the most lethal. But if peace does not come quickly, we will go after those other targets with precision, speed, and skill.
He means the Ayatollah, doesn't he?
Most of them can be taken out in a matter of minutes.
Correct. You hit the nail on the head there.
That's exactly what he means, because the Israelis have destroyed most. They're just chasing after some of these missiles now, because they're obviously underground and they're moving them around and stuff.
But they can't. They're finished. They're finished. And all these stupid people, English people in this country, complaining about what's going on. They have absolutely no idea. They're absolutely thick retards. That's all they are. Thick retards.
Look, at the end of the day, it's not our call. No, this is America wants to do this, they'll do it, mate. And if the Israelis want to do what they're going to do, they're going to do it. So
but they're protecting us as well, because Iran had been funding terrorism throughout the whole of the world.
Well, we've got cases in courts, haven't we?
Yeah, absolutely.
Iranian cells. So
bastards.
Yeah, maybe they are doing everyone a favour.
They are.
But as we said, you say this last week, but how weak is our government? We're normally involved in all the big decisions, but I don't even reckon we were even consulted on this.
Not at all. Check this out. Last 40 seconds or so.
There's no military in the world that could have done what we did tonight. Not even close. There has never been a military that could do what took place just a little while ago.
Correct.
Tomorrow, General Kane.
Say he's right, Mark. He's telling the truth. Come on.
No military can do what they just did. But I'm sorry, Israel done most of the work here. They fought the Hamas, Hezbollah. It was coming from Syria as well, and Iraq, and the Houthis.
Yeah.
And then they tried to fight all them, and it didn't stop Iran. So they thought, well, we're going to have to bomb Iran.
Yeah.
Bomb
Iran.
And they pretty much wiped everything out apart from they couldn't get deep enough.
Yeah.
To destroy those nuclear sites.
Yeah. Well, what you're saying is this guy in a house building situation is the plasterer who thinks he is the ace, of the whole operation. Everything has been built, foundations,
the house, and done the walls. Doesn't it look nice?
Doesn't that look how flat that wall is?
It's like the man's come and put the roof on at the end and gone, look at the house you just built. It's like, put the roof on me when you're about.
All the plasterers in the country are going to be saying, "You cheeky bastards!" Yeah.
That's why
well, we know
roofers,
you.
so
We see
roofers.
you. We know what you're like. Yeah, we know what you're like, prima donnas. Okay.
Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth will have a press conference at 8 a.m. at the Pentagon. And I want to just thank everybody, and in particular, God. I want to just say we love you, God, and we love our great military. Protect them. God bless the Middle East. God bless Israel, and God bless America. Thank you very much. Thank you.
I'm not sure God had much to do with it.
Well, let's put it this way. I like that. We can't even get that out of the Church of England or the Catholics in this country. Okay.
Yeah, but he nearly forgot though, didn't he? It was like, oh, and God.
No, he didn't. No, he had.
He's not even that. No. Trump's not even that religious, Mate.
Give me a break. Give me a break. I mean, he said it. That's it. Okay.
Oh, whatever he said it.
He said it, so it's
but
there.
He nearly forgot.
Okay.
Didn't he?
We're talking about a Christian God here. We're not talking about an Islamic God. We're talking about a Christian God. Do you hear that? The most powerful
the Islamic
nation.
One was wrong, wasn't he?
Yeah, the Islamic nation. Okay. Is not powerful enough. Neither of them in the Middle East, none of them. They know it. And he's just sent a very clear message out. And that should send a clear message to Starmer in this country. Okay. Islam is out. It doesn't fit in with the agenda that we've got. Okay. So people in this country should actually start to say, hey, don't worry about Islamophobia. If you've got something to say, that's it. Say it. Don't worry about Starmer. Don't worry about all the rest of them, because they're going to get clobbered. They're going to get clobbered on the world stage. They're going to get clobbered at every level. And in 2029, they're going to be out. That's it. And all this crap that they've been involved in and protecting, this, I don't know, multiculturalism. Is that what you would call it, Mark? The enhancement to the society?
Dog shit.
That's it. That's the one.
That's the one.
That's the one. Okay. It's going to be out. So I mean,
speaking of dog shit, I think some of these Shias, especially now, should be having serious words of themselves. But if they haven't done by now, they're not going to, because it wasn't the Mahdi coming to eliminate and finish everyone off, and the Jews and everything. Oops, you got that bit wrong.
How's that gone? That hasn't gone down well. That's it. Okay,
someone's not telling the truth here.
No, it ain't. It ain't working out, and we just want to say. I think
we've gone on for quite some time here, haven't we?
We have. I want to say thank you to all the listeners, and the people that have been watching and listening to us going on and, talking about these things. Yes, we are patriots. Yes, we don't favor Labour. We don't favor any of the mainstream. And also, we don't favor any of the mainstream news providers. We think they lie. We think they speak with forked tongue.
Yeah, they're irrelevant, John. Look, I'm not being funny, mate. There's some of the channels I watch, mate, are streets and miles and days ahead of what they're reporting on the news. They have to have the little meetings. And can we go and say this? Can we say that? And literally, I mean, there's some good channels out there who are literally sitting there, plotting everything out when things are happening. They're straight on as soon as there's word of something on social media. They're taking the things and they're geolocating them and plotting them on a map and showing you exactly what's happening from eyewitnesses, where it's happening straight away. The dinosaur media, they're finished, mate. I don't even know why anyone's still watching them. Absolute dog water.
I've enjoyed this conversation with you, sir, tremendously. Tremendously, as always. Okay, very intelligent. I thank you for the links for some of the movies. I do like some of the.
Might have been a tad long, so fair play to anyone who stuck with us there. But some of these streamers are doing that. Well, I watched last night 9 hours.
Well,
9 hours. And what's been happening, John, is every morning when he stops streaming, About 20 minutes later, Iran fired their ballistic missiles. So we stayed up this morning, didn't he, for the next like half an hour? Nothing happened to just like
well, I'm
9 hours.
gonna play this again, which just about sums up exactly what people think about this country.
Is it going to take long? Because I'm
no. It's not going to take long.
My legs are crossed and everything.
No, you'll love this. You'll love this.
Who would you say is your favourite political party at the moment?
None of you. They're all fucking shite. Every single last
Totally agree.
Sorry, apologies for the language there. What do you think of the National Health Service at the moment?
It's a fucking piss take. I'm ill 4 times a year and I've got more chance of getting shagged than I have getting an appointment.
Right, back to you in the studio. Firstly, what do you think of the immigration situation
on that one, mate, to be honest.
Joke. We can't look after our own people, yet those fuckers are flying through the border.
Right. And what's something that annoys you about Britain right now?
I want my fucking pension and winter fuel payments back. That's
tough.
Right, thank you for that.
Mate, the cost of rent is a fucking joke. I've got more chance of growing another pair of tits than ever buying a house.
Right, thank you for that.
Sir,
what's frustrating you most about Britain at the moment?
It's freaking impossible to survive. Everything in this shithole costs a fucking fortune now.
Oh, sorry about the language there. And what do you make of the British weather these days?
Fucking shit. Always has been. Cold, wet, miserable. It's like living in a damp sock. I've seen sunnier funerals.
How do you feel about council tax at the moment?
Fucking robbery. You pay a fortune every month and can't even get a copper to show up when you're getting burgled.
Apologies for that language. Live TV. Let's move on.
If you went on Twitter and insulted someone as you were being burgled, you might get someone round.
Oh, Jesus. I mean, we're after the watershed, so it doesn't matter, okay?
Don't know, my water's about to shed, John, if we don't finish this quickly, mate.
Well, in that case, then I'm going to say good night to you. Thank you very much, Mark. Been great speaking to you. Okay.
Thanks for anyone tuning in who's lasted this long.
Yeah, thank you very much.